Okay, so now let's take a look at another example of how to do the IELTS introduction. And for this one, we're looking at a situation where we have two charts. Right here we have a bar chart that's talking about men and women, and we have a pie chart. Okay, and so a lot of students ask me, well, how do you do it if you have two charts? Does your method, does your strategy change? Does your strategy change, Keno? And I say no. Right? The strategy, it doesn't matter if you are looking at a pie chart, a multiple chart, it doesn't matter. The strategy that I'm teaching you is consistent for every single type that you're going to do. So it doesn't matter. Okay, you can look at the examples that I'm using and teaching you how to do, and just follow my examples and you're going to be okay. You can be consistent in your method, consistent in your strategy. All right, and that's going to help you to do a good job. So let's take a look here. Up here is telling us in general what we're looking at. It says the bar chart below shows the numbers of men and women attending various evening courses at an adult education center in the year 2009. The pie chart gives you information about the ages of these course participants. Now, as I've said, you cannot just simply take this information and just repeat it as your introduction. You cannot do that. You can't. Okay, I shouldn't have to explain to you why, right? But I will anyway. It's called plagiarism. Okay, if you just take these words and copy them, you're plagiarizing. You're not using your own words. More than that, you're not showing any English variety at all. You're not showing any English ability. And it's an English test. And even more so, students that don't understand English very well, what they do is just copy this information here. That's what they do. They just copy this. They just copy this information right here. They copy it. Right? That's what students do who don't know English. They just copy that information. Okay? And that's why they get low scores. That's why they get scores of 4 or 5. Okay, you got to show English ability. You have to show English ability. So when we look at this, we're looking at it, and we have two types. Two types we have to describe. First, we're going to write a sentence. Describing. We're going to write a sentence describing what the bar chart is about. And then we're going to write a sentence describing what the pie chart is about. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at that, and you'll get a good idea of what the pie chart and the pie chart and the bar chart are about. So let's write our first sentence. We know we're dealing with an evening course in adult education. When we look at it, we see we have 4 different categories: drama, painting, sculpture, language. We have the number of people on the bar chart going from 0 to 40. We have men and women. Okay, so we're going to make a sentence describing that. All right, so there's our first sentence for the bar chart. Okay, there's our first sentence for the bar chart. And then we have to have a second sentence that gives some general information about the pie chart. All right, so that's our introduction. Right, and here we have an introduction that is made up. We have an introduction that is made up of. We have an introduction that's made up of. A bar chart and a pie chart, and we have two sentences. So, like I told you, your introduction. The only time where really I get into introductions that are composed of two sentences are when we have two different graphs we have to look at, or two charts we have to look at, like in this situation here. All right, but that is our basic introduction that we can do. As you can see, I wrote one sentence describing the bar chart. I wrote another sentence describing the pie chart. All right, and so there we go. There we have it. So I will talk to you soon, and thank you so much for your participation. All right, talk to you soon. Okay, so now we're looking at doing the overview for this graph. We've already done the introduction, right? We have our introduction right there, and I talked to you about how when you have multiple graphs like this, that for your introduction you need to do two sentences. You need to do one sentence describing the bar chart, and you need to do another sentence describing the pie chart. Now, if you're really talented, you can describe them both in one sentence using a compound complex sentence. And if you can really show the ability to do that, you can really score some good points with the graders. Okay, but for a general overview, right, the general overview is where we look at the bar chart and the pie chart and look at what do we see in general, right? What are our highs and lows that we have to look at? And remember, our general overview paragraph should be 2 to 3 sentences, no more than that. The reason why I limit you on the amount of sentences to write is it allows for you to answer the question completely, and also it allows for you to finish on time and give the correct amount of words. Writing more does not mean better. Okay, writing a whole lot of sentences and not finishing and doing a horrible job is not good. All right, so I'm showing you the process. Do it the way that I'm telling you to do it, and you'll be able to get a really good score. All right, so when we're looking at this one, first we look at the bar chart, and we have men and women. So let's just look at it and say, well, for the women, what's the high? The high for the women is sculpture. The high for the women is sculpture, and the low for the women is the high for the women is language, and the low for the women is sculpture. The high for the men is painting, and the low for the men is drama, it looks like. Actually, drama and sculpture are the low for the men. So those are our highs and lows. When we look at the percentages, the lowest percentage is for under 20, and the highest percentage is for over 50. So we take that information, and we're going to create our sentences. We're going to create our sentences using that information. Okay, that's how we're going to create our sentences. All right, so least interest in the sculpture class. Okay, so there we have our first sentence about the women, right? In terms of the women choosing to take the language class the most and showing the least interest in the sculpture class. The drama and the sculpture. All right, and there we have our sorry about that. Our tie for the lowest number of men. So there we have, here we have 3 sentences that describe our general overview. All right, we have our 3 sentences that describe our general overview. We talked about the high and low for the women. We talked about the high and low for the men. And we have to do a 3rd sentence now for the pie chart. A final point. Okay, and there we go. We did a general overview. We did a general overview and we captured everything right there. So sometimes when you have a double chart, it can take a little bit more in terms of the sentences and doing it. But you can see here that we've captured everything in our general overview. We talked about the high and low for the bar chart. We talked about the high and low for the pie chart. And this is what it would look like, right? Okay, so now let's move on and we'll do another general overview paragraph for a different one. I'm doing it this way so I can show you that process and procedure don't change. Okay, our process and procedure don't change. It stays the same, it stays consistent. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, what type you have to do. Okay, so now let's move on and let's keep. Okay, so now let's move forward and let's write our 3rd and 4th paragraphs for this multiple graph chart. We have a bar chart, we have a pie chart, and as you know, we've already written our introduction, and we've written our introduction, and we've also written our general overview for this multiple chart, and now we're going to write our 3rd and 4th paragraphs. Now, when we're looking at our 3rd and 4th paragraphs, what we have to do is we have to break it into 2 parts. If you've looked at our example for the line graph and looked at our example for the bar chart, you've seen how we break it into 2 different parts. Okay, now I've always told students, I think for a multiple graph, for a multiple graph, it's very easy to break it apart, right? In our third paragraph, we're going to compare the numbers for the bar chart. In our fourth paragraph, we're going to compare the numbers for the pie chart. Is that easy? That's how we're going to separate it, okay? And it's our third and fourth paragraphs where we're going to compare numbers. That's where we're going to get into our comparison of the numbers. We're going to get into comparing the numbers here, okay? In our introduction, we don't talk about numbers. In our general overview, we don't talk about numbers. Now we're going to talk about the numbers. So just so you can see, I'm doing this for your benefit in terms of what we're doing. But for the paragraph 3, right, we're going to compare numbers on the bar chart, right? And then for our paragraph 4, we are going to compare numbers for the pie chart. Okay? And so that's how we break it apart. So let's look at our bar chart first. All right, let's look at our bar chart first with men and women. And the number of people on the left. At the bottom, we have drama, painting, sculpture, and language. At the bottom, drama, painting, sculpture, and language. And so we can make some really good comparisons here between men and women, which is very, very easy to do. So when we look at drama, we see that the women in drama are at 20 and the men are at 10. Okay, and when we look at the painting, the women are at 30 and the men are at 25, basically. So we're going to use those numbers to make our sentences. Okay, so our sentence will look like this. And the second one we're talking about is painting, yes. All right, that's one sentence right there. And we made comparisons with the drama class and the painting class. Drama class, painting class. We compared the men to the women. Now we're going to look at sculpture. Right, with the sculpture class, we can see that we have double the amount of men, right? And for the language class, we have double the amount of women. Okay, because the women in the language class, the women are at 40, the men are at 20, but in the sculpture class, the men are at 10 and the women are at 5. All right. The sculpture class is the only one where men surpass women with 10 men and 5 women. And there you have it. There's our paragraph, right? There's our paragraph. The sculpture class is the only one where men surpass women, with 10 men and 5 women. You see it right there. Look at the sculpture class. In the sculpture class, we have 10 men and 5 women. Look at the language class. We have 40 women, which is double the amount of men. And that's where we get that from in terms of those sentences, as you can see there, right? That's what we're comparing numbers, right? We're comparing numbers, right? We're making comparisons of numbers. That's where we do that, right? We make a comparison of numbers here. Right now, for paragraph 4, we're going to talk about the pie chart. For paragraph number 4, we're going to talk about the pie chart, and we're going to make comparisons of the numbers for the pie chart. For the pie chart, we make comparisons, right? We can see for the pie chart, we can see that the top category is 42%, and the next closest one is 40 to 49. I'm sorry, 40 to 49, which is at 26%. Okay, and and we see the lowest is under 20, which is at 5%. Moving on to the pie chart, that you see our top is at 42, our bottom is at 5%. We can see that 37% more 50 plus are enrolled than the under 20 aged group. See that? Where'd I get 37% more? 42 and 5, right? Over 50 is at 42, under 20 is at 5%. The 40 to 49 aged group is at 26%, which is 10% more than the 30 to 39 group. Okay? You see we're making comparisons of the numbers. 40 to 49 is at 26%, 30 to 39 is at 16%. Finally, our 20 to 29 age group sits right at 11%, comma, very close to the bottom. And there we have it. You can look at our third and fourth paragraphs, okay, and you can see that we are comparing the numbers. We're comparing the numbers. Making some corrections. Okay. All right, and we're making comparisons of our numbers here. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, you can look at these two paragraphs and you can compare the numbers, right? We're not just talking about high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. That's how you do your third and fourth paragraphs. This is what a complete essay looks like. Our introduction has 2 sentences. Our general overview has 3. Our third paragraph has 3 sentences, and our fourth paragraph has 3 short sentences. So what we have are 2, 3, 3, 3, a total of 11 sentences. That's all. I told you that's all you're going to have to write. You're going to have to write between 8 to 11 sentences to do a complete job. Okay? And you can do that. You can do that. You can write that. You can complete that. Okay? You can complete that. But this is what comparisons look like for the third and fourth paragraph. Okay? So let's keep moving forward and look at another example of doing the specifics.